In this video I'm going to show you how to knit the Aurora scarf with the pattern that I created. You can download the free pattern if you click on the link below. For this pattern I'm using wool by Wool and the Gang in the color Hot Pink. It is an 8mm yarn, and for this pattern I used a 10mm knitting needle. To cast on, we used the long tail cast on method and cast on 17 stitches. If you've never done that, don't panic. I will go slow so that you can follow along. And we meet again once we cast it on 17 stitches. We then turn the needle like so and start knitting the first row. Let's get started. The first 3 and the last 3 stitches are worked slightly differently than the middle stitches. This gives the scarf a beautiful clean edge. I created a chart to visualize the difference between the edge and the middle stitches, and you can find it in the free pattern. I promise it will all make sense very soon. We start by knitting the first stitch. Then slipping the second stitch purlways with the yarn in front. And then knitting the third stitch. These are our edge stitches. Now we work the middle stitches slightly differently, until we have only 3 stitches remaining on our left needle. Now, instead of slipping purlways with the yarn in front, we slip purlways with the yarn in the back, like so. Knit 1, slip 1 purlways with yarn in the back, knit 1, slip 1 purlways with yarn in the back, and we keep repeating this pattern until we only have 3 stitches left on the left needle. Then, to finish the row, we knit 1, slip 1 purlways with the yarn in front, and we knit the very last stitch. And that's the first row. And now we carefully turn our work and move on to row 2. From now on, we will always slip the purl stitches and knit the knit stitches. Again, we start with the 3 edge stitches. Slip the first stitch purlways with the yarn in front. Knit the next stitch. Slip the next stitch purlways with the yarn in front. Now we're moving to the middle stitches. From now on, for the middle stitches, knit stitches will be BRK stitches, or also known as brioche stitches. In principle, it will be similar to a normal knit stitch, but it looks like 2 stitches that slightly cross over. This yarn crossover is counted as 1 stitch and also knitted as one. as you can see here. You have the crossover, you insert the needle, and you knit the crossover stitches together. The next stitch is gonna be a slip stitch. We slip purlwise with the yarn to the back. We BRK the next stitch. And we slip one purlwise with the yarn to the back. BRK the next stitch. And slip one purlwise with the yarn to the back. We continue in this pattern until we only have 3 stitches left on the left knitting needle. Now we slip one purlwise with the yarn to the front, since it's our edge stitch. We knit one, and we slip a stitch with the yarn to the front. And this is our second row. Well done! We can see the first stitch is a knit stitch. So we knit it. We slip the next stitch purlwise with the yarn to the front, because it's our edge stitch. Slip it and put the yarn to the front. And we knit the next stitch. Now our 3 edge stitches are finished. We slip the next stitch with the yarn to the back because it belongs to the middle stitches. The next stitch we brioche knit. We purl a stitch. The yarn to the back and brioche knit. And we continue like this until we only have 3 stitches left on our left knitting needle. Now we knit one stitch, purl one with the yarn to the front, and knit the very last stitch. And this is our thread row finished. And don't worry if you don't see a pattern yet and it looks a bit messy. That's totally normal, it will come with time. After a few rows, I'm sure you will see pattern forming. And this is basically all you're doing. So you're just repeating row 2 and 3 over and over again until your scarf measures your desired length. By the way, I'm curious to know if this is the first bigger knitting project you're attempting, or if you've done knitting projects before. Is it your first time knitting in brioche? I would be super interested to know, so if you want to, leave me a comment below, that would make me very happy. Just makes a beautiful scarf. It's nice and bouncy and cozy and just very soft to touch. And look at this nice and clean, beautiful edge. And even a little Highland cow could use it as a blanket. Now I show you how to attach a second skein of yarn. If the first one is finished, I personally like to do this on the edges, but you could also do it in the middle. I just personally think it looks a little cleaner this way. You just merge the two ends together like so, hold them next to each other, make sure you have at least 15 centimeters of the old yarn left, and then you tie a knot and keep on knitting as you would normally. I will show you how to reverse knit in brioche. So if you discover a little mistake on the last rows that you've knitted, you can reverse knit in brioche stitch. I always want you to know that it doesn't really matter if there's a small hiccup in the pattern. It likely doesn't really matter, but if it bothers you, I will show you how to reverse knit. If you feel your scarf is at the right length, congratulations, you are almost done. I will show you how to cast off now. We are casting off in rib stitch. That means we will purl one stitch, knit one stitch, purl one stitch, knit one stitch until the end of the row for the cast off. So we will purl our purl stitches and knit our knit stitches. And this ribbing cast off or bind off creates a nice stretchy pattern that goes very well with the brioche stitch. We start with the back row or left side row, then we knit the second stitch, We have 2 stitches on our right needle, and now we pull the first stitch over the second stitch so that only 1 stitch on our right needle remains. We purl the next stitch. We have 2 stitches on our right needle, and again we slip the first stitch over the second stitch so that only 1 stitch remains on our right needle. The next stitch is a knit stitch. So we knit the next stitch. We have 2 stitches on our right needle, and again we slide 1 stitch over the other so that 1 stitch on our right needle remains. The following stitch is a purl stitch, so we purl it and we slide the first stitch over the second stitch. And this is how you cast off in ribbing. You always want to make sure you only have 1 stitch on your right needle, and then you purl or knit depending on your pattern, and then you slip 1 stitch over the other. I will go slow for the rest of the row so you can just follow along. When you've casted off the last stitch, we are left with 1 little loop. We make sure that the tail of our yarn still is around 15 centimeters, and we snip it off, like so. We take the needle out, and we want to thread the end of the yarn through the loop to make sure it is nice and tight, and pull it. Make sure that the yarn doesn't rip off, but you want to make sure that it doesn't unravel. And don't worry if there's a little wobble. We are going to weave in the yarn ends, and this will probably look very nice and neat once you finish weaving it. Finally, we want to weave in the ends. We take our tapestry needle, thread the end of the yarn through the tapestry needle. And now we want to go through the loop into the stitch again. That is very close to our end. So I pick the loop right here. Insert the tapestry needle from the top. And I pull through. And this way we can hide very well the little knot in the end and also make sure that it doesn't become undone. We are going to insert the needle again into the stitch. And we're just making sure it looks nice. And we pull through again. Then we go into the next stitch and pull the yarn through. And into the next stitch and pull the yarn through. And we kind of want to go from one side and then from the other. So we want to go from left to right and then from right to left to mimic the brioche pattern. And also we want to make sure that it doesn't show on the other side. Once you're done weaving in the ends, congratulations! You're all finished with your lovely scarf. I hope you had a really nice time knitting this scarf, and you will have an even better time wearing it out and about and feeling super proud and happy about what you've created there. I hope you have a lovely day, and thanks for watching.